Picture this, a vast, wind-swept steppe where the only footprints belong to those who vanished centuries ago. These were the ancient nomads, masters of movement, leaving behind not grand cities, but whispers of their lives in the form of breathtaking relics. Today, we're unearthing 25 of their most astonishing treasures, objects so extraordinary, they rewrite history with every discovery. Golden armor frozen in time, tattoos that speak across millennia, carpets woven with secrets of lost trade routes. These aren't just artifacts, they're time machines, each one pulling back the curtain on cultures that shaped our world yet were nearly erased by time. By the end of this journey, you'll see the past not as dusty dates in a textbook, but as a living, breathing mystery waiting to be solved. So let's saddle up and ride straight into the untold stories hidden in these relics. Trust me, what we're about to uncover will change how you see history forever. Now, let's set our sights on the very first relic, a masterpiece that captures the spirit of the ancient steppe like no other. The Golden Deer of Siberia isn't just an artifact, it's a declaration. Unearthed from a Scythian burial mound, this breathtaking gold figure of a leaping deer is so lifelike, you can almost hear the thunder of hooves across the grasslands. Crafted with astonishing precision, every curve of its antlers and muscles speaks to a level of artistry that rivals even the finest works of ancient civilizations. But this deer wasn't just meant to dazzle. For the Scythians, it was a symbol of raw power and divine connection. These nomads saw the natural world as sacred, and animals like the deer embodied the very essence of life and movement on the steppe. Imagine a chieftain wearing this as a belt buckle or pendant, a walking testament to strength, agility, and the untamed beauty of their world. What's truly remarkable is how this single object bridges the gap between nature and nobility, proving that for the Scythians, mastery over gold meant nothing without reverence for the wild. And if you think this deer is impressive, just wait until you see what else these nomadic artists created. The next relic will take us even deeper into their world of luxury and mystery. Now let's step into a world where threads tell tales of trade and artistry frozen in time. The Pazyryk Carpet is more than just fabric, it's a time capsule from the icy heart of Siberia. Discovered in a tomb so cold it preserved this treasure for over 2,000 years, this carpet holds the title of the oldest surviving pile carpet in the world. What makes it extraordinary isn't just its age, but the stories woven into every knot. The intricate designs feature a mesmerizing blend of geometric patterns and mythical creatures, from griffins to elk, each stitch a testament to the skill of nomadic weavers. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Some scholars believe the carpet's designs hint at Persian influences, suggesting these nomads weren't isolated wanderers but key players in vast trade networks. Imagine the journeys this carpet might have taken past between cultures, crossing deserts and mountains before finding its final resting place in a chieftain's grave. The colors, still vibrant after centuries, speak of dyes traded from distant lands, while the craftsmanship reveals a society that valued beauty as much as utility. This carpet doesn't just decorate a floor, it maps connections. It shows us how nomads exchanged not just goods but ideas, blending styles from Persia, China, and the steppes into something entirely their own. And if you think this relic is impressive, just wait until we uncover the next artifact, a golden warrior whose burial defies everything we thought we knew about these ancient cultures. Now let's journey from the frozen threads of the Pazyryk Carpet to a burial that glitters with gold and mystery. Deep in the Kazakh steppes, archaeologists uncovered a site that left them breathless, the Issyk Golden Man. This soccer warrior, laid to rest over 2,000 years ago, was dressed in an astonishing suit of gold armor, a testament to a culture that revered both power and artistry. Every inch of his burial speaks of grandeur, His tall, pointed headdress, adorned with intricate gold plaques, stretches toward the sky like a symbol of divine connection. Golden arrows rest beside him, while his tunic and boots shimmer with thousands of tiny gold pieces, each one meticulously crafted. But it's not just the wealth that captivates, it's the meaning behind it. The animal motifs covering his armor, from snow leopards to winged horses, suggest a belief in the spiritual power of these creatures, possibly as protectors or guides in the afterlife. Who was this warrior? Some believe he was a prince or even a king, given the sheer opulence of his grave. Others argue his attire hints at a priestly role, blending military might with sacred duty. One thing is certain, his burial defies the old stereotype of nomads as simple wanderers. This was a society with deep traditions, skilled artisans, and a ruling elite who commanded respect. And just when you think the story can't get more intriguing, there's the mystery of his missing remains. Despite the lavish grave, no skeleton was found, leaving scholars to wonder, was his body moved or was this a symbolic burial? The Golden Man remains an enigma, a dazzling reminder of how much we still have to learn about the Saka people. But our exploration doesn't stop here. Next, we'll encounter mummies so well preserved, they rewrite the history of an entire region. From gold-clad warriors to the silent guardians of the desert, our next discovery takes us to the heart of the Taklamakan, a place where time stands still. Here, in the scorching sands of the Tarim Basin, lie some of the most baffling mummies ever found. These aren't your typical ancient remains. With their striking Caucasian features, woven woolen clothing, and flaxen hair still intact, they look as if they could have been buried yesterday, not 3,000 years ago. The mystery begins with their origins. How did people with European-like features end up in what's now Western China? Their DNA tells a story no one expected, linking them to ancient populations from the Black Sea region, thousands of miles away. This flips traditional theories about early human migration in Asia on their head. Historians once believed this part of the world was isolated, but these mummies prove otherwise. Trade, travel, and cultural exchange were happening far earlier than we imagined. Then there's their clothing. The mummies wear brightly colored tunics, trousers, and even plaid woolen cloaks that wouldn't look out of place in the Scottish Highlands. The intricate weaving techniques suggest a society with advanced textile skills, while their felted boots, designed for harsh climates, hint at a life constantly on the move. Some mummies were even buried with small pouches of herbs, possibly for medicinal or ritual use, adding another layer to their enigmatic story. But the biggest question remains: who were they? Some scholars argue they were part of the Tocharian people, an Indo-European group known from ancient texts. Others think they might represent an even earlier, unknown migration. What's clear is that their presence rewrites the narrative of how cultures spread across Eurasia. These weren't isolated nomads, they were global citizens of their time, bridging east and west long before the Silk Road. And just when you think the surprises end, there's the Churchian Man, a towering figure with auburn hair and a serene expression, buried with 10 hats, as if fashion mattered even in the afterlife. Every detail about these mummies challenges what we thought we knew, proving that history is far more interconnected than we ever realized. But our journey through the relics of the ancient nomads is far from over. Next, we'll uncover artifacts that bring the animal world to life in ways you've never seen. Now, let's turn our attention to the wild and mesmerizing world of the Eurasian steppes, where ancient nomads brought animals to life in metal and bone. These weren't just decorations, they were masterpieces of movement and meaning. Known as animal-style artifacts, these intricate creations depict everything from coiled predators to soaring birds, each piece pulsating with energy as if frozen mid-motion. What makes these artifacts so extraordinary is their artistic flair. Imagine a golden belt buckle shaped like a leaping stag, its antlers flowing into swirling patterns, or a dagger handle carved into a snarling wolf, muscles taut with tension. The artisans didn't just depict animals, they captured their essence, blending realism with abstract twists that make each piece feel alive. This style wasn't limited to one tribe. It spread across the steppes, uniting cultures from the Scythians to the Sarmatians in a shared visual language. But why animals? Many scholars believe these designs held deep spiritual significance. For nomadic peoples, animals weren't just food or foes, they were guides, protectors, and even messengers to the spirit world. A falcon might symbolize a connection to the sky gods, while a coiled panther could represent raw, untamed power. Some think shamans used these objects in rituals, wearing animal-shaped pendants or wielding ceremonial weapons to channel the creature's strength. The line between art and magic was often blurred, and the influence of animal style didn't stop with the nomads. Centuries later, echoes of these designs appeared in Viking metalwork, Celtic knots, even medieval European heraldry. The nomads may have vanished, but their artistic legacy galloped across continents, proving that great ideas, like great cultures, are never truly lost. Yet the mysteries don't end here. Next, we'll unravel the threads of an ancient tapestry that reveals how these nomads feasted, celebrated, and perhaps even danced under the stars. Now let's step into the vibrant world of the Noin-Ula Tapestry, a stunning textile that offers a rare glimpse into the social life of ancient nomads. Discovered in a burial mound in Mongolia, this intricate piece is more than just fabric, it's a frozen moment in time, capturing a lively feast where music, food, and celebration take center stage. What makes this tapestry so fascinating are the vivid scenes woven into its threads. Picture noble figures seated on elaborate carpets, raising cups in toast, while servants bring platters of roasted meat and bowls of fermented mare's milk. Musicians strum stringed instruments and dancers move in rhythmic patterns, their flowing robes hinting at the energy of the gathering. Every detail, from the embroidered floral borders to the expressive faces, suggests this wasn't just a meal, it was a ritual of unity, a way to honor alliances or mark important events. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Look closely and you'll spot hints of Hellenistic artistry, graceful drapery folds, naturalistic poses that suggest cross-cultural exchanges. Some scholars believe Greek artisans, or at least their influence, traveled along trade routes, blending their techniques with nomadic traditions. Others argue these motifs arrived through indirect contact, perhaps via the Parthians or Bactrians. Either way, the tapestry is proof that even in the vastness of the steppes, ideas and aesthetics traveled far. Beyond its artistry, the Noin-Ula Tapestry reveals the sophistication of nomadic social customs. Feasts like these weren't just about food, they were political tools, spaces where leaders negotiated, storytellers passed down legends, and communities strengthened bonds. The careful depiction of hierarchy, with elites at the center and attendants at the edges, mirrors the strict social order these cultures maintained. And just when you think the tapestry has given up all its secrets, another layer emerges. The colors, preserved remarkably well, were made from rare dyes like indigo and cochineal, suggesting access to far-flung trade networks. The very threads tell a story of connectivity, luxury, and the nomads' ability to weave together a world much larger than their tents. But the threads of history don't stop here. Up next, we'll examine a golden artifact that proves even the smallest objects could carry the weight of war and prestige. Now, let's turn our attention to an object that might seem ordinary at first glance, but holds extraordinary significance: the Scythian Comb. This isn't just a tool for grooming, it's a masterpiece of ancient artistry, crafted from solid gold and etched with a dramatic battle scene. Imagine holding a comb so precious that it doubles as a storytelling device, frozen in time to depict warriors locked in combat, their expressions fierce and their movements dynamic. What makes this comb truly remarkable is the level of detail packed into its tiny frame. Every figure is meticulously carved, from the armored warriors on horseback to the fallen enemy beneath their hooves. The scene isn't just decorative, it's a statement. For the Scythians, combs like this weren't merely functional, they were symbols of status, power, and even spiritual protection. Scholars believe these objects may have been buried with their owners as talismans for the afterlife, ensuring victory and honor beyond death. But why a comb? In Scythian culture, grooming held deep social and ritual importance. A well-kept appearance signaled discipline and nobility, especially among warriors. This golden comb, likely owned by a chieftain or elite, would have been a prized possession, reflecting both personal pride and communal identity. The battle scene etched into it reinforces the Scythians' reputation as fierce fighters, turning an everyday object into a portable monument to their way of life. The artistic mastery here is undeniable. The comb's creator used techniques borrowed from Greek metalworkers, blending Scythian themes with Hellenistic precision. The flowing lines and lifelike poses suggest a level of sophistication that challenges old stereotypes of nomads as crude or unsophisticated. Instead, this tiny artifact whispers of a culture that valued beauty, narrative, and craftsmanship as much as strength on the battlefield. And just like the Noin-Ula Tapestry, this comb hints at connections across vast distances. The gold itself may have traveled from distant mines, while the artistic influences reveal a world where ideas flowed as freely as trade goods. It's a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the weight of history, bridging cultures and centuries with their silent stories. Next, we'll uncover another treasure that blurs the lines between art and ritual. This time, a set of mysterious jade discs that held deep meaning for the nomadic elite. Now, let's step into the world of the Xiongnu nomads, where jade wasn't just a stone, it was a bridge between earth and the divine. These mysterious jade discs discovered in elite Mongol burials are more than beautiful ornaments. They're windows into a culture that revered jade as sacred, a material so precious it was believed to hold protective and spiritual powers. Crafted with precision, these discs often feature smooth, circular shapes with a central hole, echoing designs found in ancient Chinese jade artifacts. But here's the twist: the Xiongnu didn't just copy their neighbors, they made these discs their own, using them in ways that reflected their unique nomadic identity. Scholars suggest they might have been sewn onto clothing, hung as pendants, or even placed on the bodies of the dead as talismans for the afterlife. The connection to Chinese jade traditions is undeniable, but the Xiongnu infused them with their own symbolism, possibly linking them to celestial beliefs or ancestral worship. What's fascinating is how these discs reveal the Xiongnu's elite status. Jade was rare on the steppes, often acquired through trade or tribute, making it a luxury reserved for the powerful. Owning such objects wasn't just about wealth, it was a statement of authority, a way to align oneself with the spiritual and political order of the time. The discs' presence in graves underscores their importance, as if the Xiongnu believed jade could guide or protect their leaders in the next world. The craftsmanship tells another story. Unlike the intricate battle scenes of the Scythian Comb, these discs embrace simplicity, their power lying in their purity and symmetry. Yet, their smooth surfaces and precise holes hint at advanced lapidary skills, proving the Xiongnu were master artisans in their own right. Some discs even show wear, suggesting they were used in rituals long before being buried, perhaps in ceremonies honoring the sky or the spirits of the land. And just like the golden comb linked the Scythians to the Greeks, these jade discs tie the Xiongnu to a wider world. They're evidence of cultural exchange along the Silk Road's early routes, where ideas and treasures flowed as freely as the wind across the steppe. Next, we'll meet a woman whose preserved skin tells a story as vivid as any artifact: the Altai Princess and her mesmerizing tattoos. Leaving behind the silent elegance of jade discs, we now uncover a relic that speaks through skin: the breathtaking tattoos of the Altai Princess. Known as the Issyk Princess, this noblewoman's remarkably preserved body, discovered in the permafrost of Siberia, reveals intricate tattoos that are more than mere decoration. They're a living manuscript of her people's beliefs, etched into her flesh as a bridge between the human and spirit worlds. Her tattoos, frozen in time for over 2,500 years, adorn her arms, shoulders, and even a finger. The designs are stunning mythical creatures like deer with elaborate antlers, fantastical griffins, and swirling patterns that seem to pulse with movement. These aren't random sketches. Each symbol carries deep spiritual weight. The deer, for instance, were sacred to the Pazyryk culture, representing a guide to the afterlife, while the griffins, part eagle, part lion, were guardians against evil. What's astonishing is how these ancient tattoos mirror the traditions of modern Siberian indigenous groups, like the Altai people. Even today, their artisans carve similar motifs into wood and leather, a testament to an unbroken cultural thread stretching back millennia. The princess's tattoos suggest she wasn't just nobility. She may have been a spiritual figure, perhaps a healer or a mediator between worlds. The placement of the tattoos near joints and along meridians hints at connections to shamanic rituals where body art was believed to channel energy or protection. The technique itself is a marvel. Using soot and needles, her people achieved fine, graceful lines that rival modern tattooing. Unlike the bold styles of the Scythians or Huns, these designs are delicate, almost ethereal, as if meant to shimmer under the flicker of firelight during sacred ceremonies. Some researchers think the tattoos might have marked significant life events, rites of passage, victories, or even her journey into the afterlife. And here's a poignant detail: when the princess was buried, she wasn't alone. 6 horses, their coats still bearing elaborate felt appliques, were sacrificed to accompany her. This, combined with her tattoos, paints a picture of a culture that saw death not as an end, but as a transition, with art serving as both a map and a passport to the next world. As we move from skin to silk, prepare to encounter another nomadic treasure: luxurious robes that whisper of empires and the vast trade networks that connected them. Now, let's turn our attention to a relic that gleams with the opulence of the ancient steppes: the Sarmatian golden bowls. These exquisite drinking vessels, discovered in the burial mounds of nomadic elites, are more than just containers. They're masterpieces of artistry designed to dazzle and impress. Crafted from solid gold, their surfaces are adorned with intricate engravings, mythical beasts, swirling vines, and geometric patterns that catch the light with every turn. What makes these bowls so fascinating is how they reveal the Sarmatians' love for luxury. These nomads weren't just warriors, they were connoisseurs of fine craftsmanship. The bowls were likely used in grand feasts or sacred ceremonies where they symbolized status and power. Imagine a chieftain raising one of these gleaming vessels during a toast, the flickering firelight reflecting off its golden surface as guests marveled at the wealth and skill it represented. But these bowls weren't just for show. Some scholars believe they held a deeper ritual significance. The motifs carved into them, like griffins or serpents, may have been thought to ward off evil or invoke divine blessings. Others suggest they were used in libations, offerings poured to honor gods or ancestors. The sheer weight and quality of the gold also hint at something else: the Sarmatians' access to vast trade networks, possibly stretching as far as the Roman Empire or Persia. What's striking is how these bowls reflect a nomadic culture that valued both mobility and magnificence. Even while living on the move, the Sarmatian elite carried treasures like these, proving that luxury wasn't confined to settled civilizations. Their golden bowls were portable symbols of prestige, meant to impress allies and intimidate rivals. As we leave behind the glitter of Sarmatian gold, our next relic takes us to the heart of nomadic life, where the bond between warrior and steed was forged in artistry and war. Now, let's ride into the world of the Huns, where the bond between warrior and horse was not just practical, it was a statement of power. The Hun horse trappings we've uncovered are more than mere equipment. They're a testament to a culture built on speed, skill, and intimidation. Picture this: a Hun warrior's mount draped in ornate bridles, saddles, and stirrups, each piece meticulously crafted to dazzle. These weren't just functional items, they were symbols of status, designed to strike fear into enemies and awe into allies. The Huns, after all, were masters of the saddle, and their horse gear reflected that dominance. Take their bridles, for example. Adorned with bronze and gold plaques, often shaped into fierce animals like wolves or eagles, these pieces weren't just decorative. They sent a clear message: this rider was a force to be reckoned with. Even the stitching on their saddles was deliberate, with patterns that may have held spiritual significance or marked clan identity. But the real game changer, the Huns' advanced stirrups. While simple in design, they revolutionized warfare, giving riders unmatched stability and control in battle. This innovation allowed them to fire arrows with deadly accuracy at full gallop, a tactic that made them nearly unstoppable on the battlefield. And let's not forget the role of these trappings in diplomacy. When the Huns wanted to impress or intimidate, they'd parade their finest horses, their gear gleaming in the sunlight. To rival tribes or settled empires, the sight of a Hun cavalry unit was a display of both military might and artistic prowess. What's remarkable is how these trappings reveal the Huns' deep connection to their horses. For them, the horse wasn't just a tool, it was an extension of the warrior himself. The care put into every strap and ornament shows a culture that revered equestrian skill as much as bravery in combat. As we move from the thundering hooves of the Huns, our next relic invites us into a world of shimmering gold and celestial symbolism, where a headpiece wasn't just worn but worshipped. Now let's turn our gaze upward to the skies, where the Saka people found divine inspiration. Among their most breathtaking relics is the Golden Sun headpiece, a radiant masterpiece that speaks volumes about their spiritual world. Imagine a headdress crafted entirely of gold, its rays fanning outward like the sun itself. This wasn't just jewelry, it was a sacred object, likely worn by a high-ranking shaman or chieftain during rituals. The Saka, like many steppe nomads, saw the sun as a life-giving force, a deity to be honored and appeased. The headpiece's design, bursting with solar motifs, wasn't merely artistic. It was a direct link to the heavens, a way to channel the sun's power. What's fascinating is how widespread solar worship was among nomadic cultures. From the Scythians to the Xiongnu, celestial symbols, especially the sun and moon, appeared on weapons, clothing, and even tattoos. For the Saka, the sun represented not just light and warmth, but also authority. Wearing this headpiece would have signaled a connection to the divine, reinforcing the wearer's status as a mediator between the people and the gods. The craftsmanship alone is staggering. Thin sheets of gold were hammered into delicate rays, each one carefully arranged to catch the light. Some scholars believe the headpiece might have been part of a larger ceremonial costume, possibly paired with a gold-covered robe or other regalia. When the wearer moved, the headdress would have shimmered, creating an almost otherworldly effect perfect for rituals meant to invoke the gods. But here's the deeper layer. The sun's rays on the headpiece aren't uniform. Some are longer, others shorter, possibly representing the changing seasons or the cyclical nature of life. This attention to detail suggests the Saka didn't just revere the sun, they studied it, tracking its movements across the sky. For a nomadic people dependent on the land, understanding celestial patterns wasn't just spiritual, it was survival. As we leave the glow of the sun headpiece behind, our next relic plunges us into the intimate world of ancient body art, where needles and ink reveal secrets of identity and belief. Now, let's step into the world of ancient body art, where ink and skin told stories of identity and spirituality. Among the most intriguing relics left by the Pazyryk nomads are their tattoo tools, simple yet sophisticated instruments that reveal a deep cultural tradition. These weren't just ordinary needles, crafted from bone or bronze. The tools were designed with precision, some featuring fine points for intricate designs, others slightly thicker for bolder lines. Researchers believe the process involved dipping the needle into pigment, likely soot or charcoal, mixed with liquid, then puncturing the skin to create permanent markings. Imagine the skill required to hand-tap these tattoos without modern equipment, a testament to the artisan's expertise. But why were tattoos so important to these nomads? For the Pazyryk people, body art was far more than decoration. The tattoos found on mummies, like the famous Altai Princess, depict animals, mythical creatures, and geometric patterns, each symbol carrying spiritual weight. Some designs may have served as protective charms, while others marked rites of passage or social status. The recurring motif of animals like deer and griffins suggests a connection to shamanistic beliefs where these creatures acted as guides between worlds. What's striking is how these ancient tattoos mirror those of indigenous Siberian cultures today. The techniques and even some designs have survived millennia, hinting at an unbroken tradition. For the Pazyryk, tattoos were a language, one that spoke of their relationship with nature, the divine, and each other. As we move from the intimate art of tattooing, our next relic transports us to the opulent world of nomadic elites and their love for luxury. Now, let's turn our attention to the dazzling world of Mongol elites and their exquisite taste in fashion. Among the most striking relics from their burial sites are the luxurious silk robes, woven with intricate patterns and dyed in vibrant colors. These weren't just garments, they were statements of power, wealth, and connection. The silk robes discovered in elite Mongol graves tell a fascinating story of trade and diplomacy. Silk, a highly prized material, wasn't native to the Mongolian steppes. Instead, it traveled thousands of miles along the Silk Road, passing through the hands of merchants, weavers, and diplomats. The presence of these robes in Mongol burials reveals just how deeply the nomads were integrated into this vast network of exchange. Some silks even bear designs influenced by Chinese, Persian, and Central Asian artistry, showcasing the Mongols' ability to blend cultures while maintaining their own identity. But why were these robes so significant? For the Mongol elite, silk was more than just a symbol of status, it was a tool of statecraft. Leaders like Genghis Khan and his successors used luxurious gifts, including silk, to forge alliances and reward loyalty. The robes also served as diplomatic currency, exchanged during negotiations or as tokens of peace. Wearing silk wasn't just about looking regal. It was about projecting authority and fostering connections across empires. What's equally remarkable is how well preserved some of these robes are, despite centuries buried in the earth. The fine threads and vivid hues speak to the advanced dyeing and weaving techniques of the time. Some even feature gold embroidery, adding another layer of opulence. These garments weren't just clothing, they were masterpieces of textile art, reflecting the Mongols' appreciation for beauty and craftsmanship. As we admire these silk treasures, we're reminded that the Mongols weren't just conquerors. They were savvy traders and cultural ambassadors. Their robes are threads in a larger tapestry of history, one woven with diplomacy, ambition, and artistry. Next, we uncover a relic that reveals a surprising aspect of nomadic rituals, one that might just change how you see ancient traditions. Now, let's step into a lesser-known but fascinating aspect of ancient nomadic life, one that might surprise you. Among the many relics left behind by the Scythians, a nomadic people who roamed the Eurasian steppes, are peculiar bronze vessels with a very specific purpose. These weren't just ordinary containers, they were cannabis burners used to inhale the fumes of burning hemp during rituals. These bronze burners, often found in burial sites, offer a glimpse into the spiritual and social practices of the Scythians. Historical accounts, including those by the Greek historian Herodotus, describe how the Scythians would gather inside tents, toss cannabis seeds onto hot stones, and inhale the resulting smoke. The experience was said to induce a trance-like state, possibly used for divination, healing, or communing with the spirit world. But why cannabis? For the Scythians, this plant wasn't just a recreational substance, it held deep ritual significance. Some scholars believe these ceremonies were tied to shamanistic traditions, where altered states of consciousness were thought to bridge the human and spiritual realms. The burners themselves are often intricately decorated, featuring animal motifs or mythical scenes, suggesting they were sacred objects rather than everyday tools. What's equally intriguing is how widespread this practice seems to have been. Similar vessels have been found across Scythian territories, hinting at a shared cultural tradition. The use of cannabis might have also played a role in social bonding, much like shared feasts or ceremonies. Imagine nomadic warriors or shamans gathered around these burners, enveloped in smoke, as part of rites that strengthened community ties or prepared them for battle. The discovery of these burners challenges modern assumptions about ancient drug use. Far from being a casual habit, cannabis was deeply woven into the spiritual and cultural fabric of the Scythians. These relics remind us that the past often holds surprises, and that even something as simple as a bronze vessel can open a window into a world of ritual, belief, and connection. Next, we turn to another artifact that reveals the opulence and artistry of nomadic elites, one that showcases their love for storytelling through precious metals. Now, let's shift our focus to a different kind of treasure, one that reveals the artistic brilliance and social customs of another nomadic group. The Xiongnu silver plates are stunning examples of craftsmanship, covered in intricate engravings that tell stories of myth and power. These weren't just decorative items, they played a central role in the feasting traditions of the Xiongnu people, a nomadic confederation that thrived in Central Asia. What makes these plates so remarkable are the detailed scenes etched into their surfaces. Many depict mythical creatures, dragons, griffins, and other fantastical beasts locked in battle or soaring through intricate patterns. These designs weren't random, they carried deep symbolic meaning, possibly representing cosmic struggles or the triumph of order over chaos. Some scholars believe the imagery was meant to convey strength and protection, qualities highly valued by nomadic elites. But these plates weren't just for show. They were used during lavish feasts where food and drink were served on them as a display of wealth and status. Imagine a nomadic chieftain hosting a grand gathering, guests seated around low tables as these gleaming silver plates were passed around, each one telling a story through its engravings. Feasting wasn't just about eating, it was a ritual that reinforced social bonds, celebrated victories, and even served as a form of diplomacy between tribes. The craftsmanship of these plates also hints at the Xiongnu's connections with other cultures. The artistic styles blend influences from Persia, China, and the steppes, reflecting the Xiongnu's position along trade routes. Some plates even feature inscriptions or symbols that suggest they were gifts or tribute, exchanged between rulers to secure alliances. What's fascinating is how these plates bridge the practical and the symbolic. They were functional objects, yet their designs transformed them into something more, a canvas for storytelling, a marker of identity, and a tool for political power. The Xiongnu silver plates remind us that for nomads, art wasn't separate from daily life. It was woven into the very fabric of their rituals and relationships. Next, we'll uncover another relic that speaks to the vast trade networks of the ancient nomads, one that traveled farther than you might expect. Moving from the gleaming silver plates of the Xiongnu, we now turn our attention to something far smaller but no less fascinating, the Yuezhi glass beads. These tiny, colorful treasures might seem unassuming at first glance, but their journey across continents tells a story of ancient trade networks stretching farther than we often imagine. Discovered in Central Asia, these delicate beads were crafted with remarkable skill, their vibrant hues and intricate patterns catching the light in ways that must have dazzled their owners. What makes them truly extraordinary is their origin. Many of these beads likely came from the Roman Empire, thousands of miles away. Chemical analysis has revealed that their composition matches glass produced in Roman workshops, suggesting they traveled along the Silk Road through a chain of traders and middlemen. For the Yuezhi, a nomadic confederation that dominated parts of Central Asia, These beads were more than just ornaments. They were symbols of prestige worn by elites to display their access to far-flung luxury goods. The presence of Roman glass in Ueji burials hints at their role as key players in long-distance trade, connecting the Mediterranean world with the steppes and beyond. But how did these fragile beads survive such a perilous journey? Nomadic traders likely carried them in carefully guarded caravans, passing through bustling oasis towns where goods from east and west changed hands. Each bead represents not just artistry, but also the resilience of those who transported them across deserts and mountains. The Ueji glass beads are a testament to the interconnectedness of the ancient world. They remind us that even the smallest objects can carry grand narratives of diplomacy, wealth, and the human desire for beauty across cultures. Next, we'll examine another relic that embodies the fierce symbolism of nomadic power, the Xiongnu dragon belt buckles. Now, let's shift our gaze to a relic that embodies both artistry and authority, the Xiongnu dragon belt buckles. These striking ornaments, often crafted from gold or bronze, feature intricate dragon motifs coiled in fierce, dynamic poses. Far more than mere decorations, these buckles were powerful symbols of status and strength, worn by the elite of the Xiongnu Confederation, a nomadic empire that rivaled even China's Han Dynasty. The dragons themselves are fascinating. Their sinuous bodies and snarling jaws reflect a blend of steppe tradition and outside influences. Many scholars believe the designs were inspired by Chinese dragon imagery, hinting at the cultural exchanges between the Xiongnu and their settled neighbors. Yet, these creatures also carry a distinctly nomadic flair, their wild, untamed energy mirroring the spirit of the horseback warriors who wore them. What makes these buckles truly remarkable is their role in the politics of power. In the nomadic world, belts weren't just functional, they were statements. A finely crafted dragon buckle signaled its wearer's high rank, possibly even their connection to divine or mythical forces. Some theories suggest the dragons represented protection or ferocity in battle, serving as talismans for the warriors who led the Xiongnu's relentless campaigns. The craftsmanship is equally impressive. Artisans used advanced techniques like lost wax casting to create these detailed pieces, proving that nomadic metalworkers were masters of their craft. The fact that many buckles have been found in lavish graves further underscores their importance. These were treasures meant to accompany their owners into the afterlife. The Xiongnu dragon buckles are more than relics, they're a window into how nomads used art to project power and prestige. Next, we'll uncover another artifact steeped in mystery and spirituality, the Sarmatian mirror, with its cryptic inscriptions and ties to ancient rituals. Turning now to an artifact that blends the mystical with the everyday, we encounter the Sarmatian mirror, a polished bronze disc etched with cryptic symbols that whisper of ancient rituals. Unlike the ornate dragon buckles we just explored, this mirror's power lay not in its opulence but in its purpose. For the Sarmatians, a nomadic people who roamed the steppes from the Black Sea to the Caspian, mirrors were far more than tools for reflection. They were portals to the unseen, instruments of divination wielded by shamans and seers. The inscriptions on these mirrors are the real enigma. Some feature spirals and geometric patterns, possibly representing celestial bodies or spiritual pathways. Others bear rune-like markings that scholars still struggle to decipher. What's clear is that these weren't random scratches. They were deliberate codes, perhaps meant to channel energy or interpret omens. Imagine a shaman tracing these symbols by firelight, seeking visions of the future or messages from the spirit world. Mirrors held a dual role in nomadic spirituality. On one hand, they were practical objects prized for their craftsmanship and rarity. On the other, they symbolized the boundary between realms, the polished surface acting as a thin veil between the living and the divine. Some burial sites reveal mirrors placed near the deceased, suggesting they were thought to guide souls in the afterlife or protect them from malevolent forces. The Sarmatians weren't alone in their reverence for mirrors. Similar artifacts appear across Eurasian nomadic cultures, often linked to women of high status. This hints at a broader tradition where mirrors embodied both spiritual authority and social prestige. Yet the Sarmatian versions stand out for their unique inscriptions, a testament to their distinct belief system. What makes these mirrors especially intriguing is their durability. Many survive in startlingly good condition, their bronze surfaces still catching the light after centuries. It's as if they refuse to let their secrets fade, inviting us to ponder the hands that once held them and the mysteries they sought to unravel. Next, we'll step into the world of communal feasts and rituals with the Hunnic cauldrons, massive bronze vessels that fed both bodies and souls on the open steppe. Now let's shift our gaze to something far larger and just as enigmatic: the Hunnic cauldrons. These colossal bronze vessels, some standing as tall as a person, weren't just kitchen tools for the Huns. They were the heart of nomadic life on the open steppe, where survival depended on community and shared resources. Picture a sprawling encampment at dusk, warriors and families gathered around these massive cauldrons, steam rising from a bubbling stew of meat and wild grains. This wasn't just dinner, it was a ritual of unity, a reminder that even the fiercest warriors needed the warmth of the hearth. The craftsmanship of these cauldrons is astounding. Cast in bronze, often with intricate handles shaped like animals or mythical beasts, they were built to last. Their sheer size suggests they were used to feed large groups, possibly entire clans or warrior bands. But here's where it gets fascinating. Many of these cauldrons were found buried in sacred spots or near rivers, far from typical settlement areas. This hints at something deeper than mere practicality. Were they offerings to the gods, vessels for ceremonial feasts that honored the dead or celebrated victories? Archaeologists have noted something curious. Some cauldrons show signs of intense heat, not just from cooking but from repeated high-temperature fires. Could they have been used in purification rituals where flames were thought to cleanse or transform? The Huns, like many steppe cultures, believed in a world alive with spirits, and fire held a sacred place in their cosmology. A cauldron's ability to hold both food and flame might have made it a symbol of life and renewal. What's equally striking is how these cauldrons connect the Huns to a broader nomadic tradition. Similar vessels appear among the Scythians, the Xiongnu, and even early Turkic tribes, suggesting a shared cultural thread. For nomads who carried their world on horseback, the cauldron was more than a pot. It was a portable center of gravity, a place where stories were told, alliances forged, and the divine invoked. As we move forward, prepare to uncover another layer of nomadic life where humans and animals shared not just the land but the afterlife itself. The bond between the Saka people and their animal companions reveals a spirituality as vast as the steppes they roamed. Now, let's step into the sacred resting places of the Saka people, where the line between human and animal blurs in the afterlife. These ancient nomads didn't just bury their dead, they laid them to rest alongside their most trusted companions, horses, and sometimes even big cats or birds of prey. These weren't mere sacrifices, they were profound acts of love and belief, revealing a bond that transcended life itself. Picture a Saka warrior's grave, adorned with golden ornaments and weapons, but look closer, you'll find the skeleton of a horse, its legs carefully folded as if in mid-gallop, or a snow leopard curled protectively near its owner. For the Saka, animals weren't just tools or trophies, they were partners in life's journey and guides to the spirit world. The horse, especially, was sacred. Swift, loyal, and vital to survival on the steppe, it was believed to carry the soul of its rider into the afterlife. Archaeologists have uncovered graves where horses were buried in full regalia, bridles studded with gold, saddles embroidered with intricate patterns. Some even had their manes braided or dyed, a final act of reverence. But why go to such lengths? The answer lies in the Saka's spiritual worldview. They saw animals as kin, beings with souls and roles in the cosmic order. A horse buried with its owner wasn't just a possession, It was a companion for eternity, ensuring the warrior's passage to the next world, and it wasn't just horses. In the frozen tombs of the Altai Mountains, researchers found mummified big cats, eagles, and even mythical griffins carved from wood placed as guardians. These creatures symbolized power, protection, and the wild, untamed spirit of the steppe. The Saka believed that in death, as in life, they needed these allies to navigate the unknown. What's truly remarkable is how these burials echo across nomadic cultures. From the Scythians to the Xiongnu, the practice of animal companions in graves was widespread, a testament to a shared belief in the interconnectedness of all life. For nomads who relied on animals for survival, this bond was sacred, a thread woven into their very identity. As we move forward, prepare to decipher the silent language of the Turkic tribes, where runes carved into stone reveal stories of conquest, faith, and the enduring legacy of the steppes. Now, let's turn our attention to the silent storytellers of the Turkic nomads, the runic stones scattered across the vast steppes. These weathered slabs of rock, etched with ancient symbols, hold the voices of a people who once ruled the windswept plains. Unlike the ornate gold of the Saka or the frozen tapestries of the Pazyryk, these stones speak through simple, powerful lines, a language carved not for decoration but for memory. The Turkic runes, with their sharp angles and deliberate strokes, are more than just writing. They're snapshots of a nomadic world in motion. Imagine a chieftain's memorial stone standing tall under the open sky, its inscription declaring his victories, battles won, lands claimed, alliances forged. One famous example, the Orkhan inscriptions from modern-day Mongolia, boasts of a ruler who made the weak strong and the few many. These words weren't just bragging, they were a testament to the Turkic belief in order, leadership, and the divine right to rule. What's fascinating is how these runes reveal the Turkic tribe's reach. From the Danube to the Yellow River, the same script appears, adapted slightly by each group but always recognizable. This wasn't just a writing system, it was a cultural thread tying together distant tribes, a shared identity etched in stone. Scholars once thought runes belonged only to the Vikings, but the Turkic stones prove otherwise. An entire nomadic civilization had its own written voice, one that echoed across continents. The language itself is a time capsule. Unlike the flowery scripts of settled empires, Turkic runes are direct, even poetic in their simplicity. They speak of herds, of loyalty, of the eternal blue sky that watched over them. Some stones mourn fallen warriors with raw grief, like one that laments, "Weep for him, O my people, as I weep." Others celebrate life's fleeting joys, reminding us that these nomads weren't just conquerors. They were fathers, poets, and philosophers under the stars. But perhaps the most striking thing about these stones is their endurance. While empires rose and fell, the runes survived, preserving the Turkic legacy long after their tents had folded. Today, they're keys to unlocking how these tribes saw themselves not as scattered bands, but as a people united by blood, language, and destiny. As we move deeper into the relics of the nomads, we'll uncover the vibrant colors of the Sogdian silk paintings, where banquets and music reveal a world of cross-cultural exchange. Now, let's step into a world of color and celebration with the Sogdian silk paintings, where the walls of ancient tombs come alive with scenes of feasts, music, and cultural fusion. Unlike the stark runes of the Turkic stones, these paintings burst with vibrant hues, capturing moments of joy and connection along the Silk Road. Discovered in the tombs of Sogdian merchants and nobles, these artworks are like windows into a cosmopolitan world. Picture lavish banquets where guests recline on cushions, raising cups of wine as musicians play lutes and harps. The figures wear flowing robes adorned with intricate patterns, Persian, Chinese, and even Hellenistic influences woven together in a single tapestry of art. These weren't just decorations, they were statements of identity, showing how the Sogdians thrived as middlemen of culture and trade. What makes these paintings extraordinary is their storytelling. One scene might depict a caravan crossing rugged mountains, its camels laden with goods, while another shows a dancer mid-twirl, her sleeves swirling like wings. Every detail, from the delicate brushstrokes to the gold leaf accent, speaks of a society that cherished beauty and movement. Even the faces tell tales. Some figures have Central Asian features, others resemble Tang Chinese nobles, proof of the Sogdians' far-reaching connections. But these paintings weren't just about wealth or status. They reveal a deeper truth: the Sogdians' role as cultural bridges. In one tomb, a mural blends Zoroastrian fire altars with Buddhist lotus motifs, a silent testament to how ideas traveled as freely as silk and spices. Another shows a hunting scene where riders in Sogdian garb chase prey alongside figures in Chinese dress, symbolizing alliances forged beyond borders. The silk itself is a marvel. Unlike fragile frescoes, these pigments clung to silk for over 1,000 years, defying time. The dyes, deep blues from lapis lazuli, radiant reds from cinnabar, were luxury imports, yet the Sogdians used them freely, as if declaring their place at the heart of the world's trade. As we marvel at these painted feasts, we're reminded that the nomads and traders of the past weren't isolated tribes but global citizens. Their art didn't just decorate tombs, it celebrated a life woven from countless threads of culture. And with that, we turn to the next relic, the Khazar coin hoards, where gold and silver reveal the economic pulse of another nomadic empire. Now, let's shift our gaze from the vibrant murals of the Sogdians to something equally dazzling but far more tangible: the glittering treasures of the Khazar coin hoards. These vast collections of coins, unearthed across the Khazar Khaganate, aren't just piles of metal. They're a ledger of an empire built on trade, diplomacy, and sheer economic savvy. Picture this: buried beneath the soil of modern-day Russia, Ukraine, and the Caucasus, archaeologists have uncovered chests overflowing with silver dirhams, gold dinars, and even Byzantine solidi. Each coin tells a story of connections stretching from Scandinavia to the Islamic world. The Khazars didn't just collect currency, they mastered it, turning their realm into a bustling hub where merchants from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East converged. What's fascinating is the sheer variety. A single hoard might contain Arabic coins stamped with the names of caliphs, Viking hack silver chopped into pieces for barter, and even Chinese cash repurposed as ornaments. This mix wasn't random, it reflected the Khazars' genius as middlemen. They taxed the caravans and ships passing through their lands, amassing wealth while keeping the wheels of commerce spinning. But these coins weren't just about profit, they were tools of power. By controlling the flow of silver, the lifeblood of medieval trade, the Khazars could sway alliances and fund their armies. Some historians argue their coin-based economy was so robust, it rivaled the Byzantine and Abbasid systems. And here's the twist: the Khazars themselves rarely minted coins. Instead, they relied on imports, proving that sometimes the smartest move is to let others do the work and then take a cut. The hoards also hint at darker chapters. Many were buried in times of invasion or unrest, hidden by owners who never returned. One cache found near the Volga River held over 5,000 coins, hastily stashed as Mongol armies approached. These silent vaults remind us that even the mightiest economies could vanish overnight. Yet the legacy of the Khazars lives on in these metallic fragments. They didn't just trade goods, they traded ideas, religions, and technologies, leaving behind a monetary trail that reshaped Eurasia. And with that, we turn to our final relic, the kurgans themselves, the grand tombs that cradle the secrets of the steppes. Now, as we reach the final chapter of our journey through the relics of ancient nomads, we come to the very monuments that have safeguarded these treasures for centuries, the kurgans themselves. These towering burial mounds, scattered like silent sentinels across the Eurasian steppe, are more than just graves. They are time capsules, preserving the legacy of nomadic cultures in layers of earth and history. Imagine standing before one of these massive earthen structures, some as tall as a 3-story building. Built with meticulous care, each kurgan was a feat of engineering, often requiring hundreds of workers to pile soil and stones into a shape that would endure for millennia. But why go to such lengths? For the nomads, these weren't just tombs, they were bridges to the afterlife, designed to honor the dead and display the power of the living. Step inside and you'll find a world frozen in time. The elite were buried with staggering wealth, golden armor, intricately woven textiles, even chariots and sacrificed horses, all meant to accompany them into the next world. The deeper you dig, the more layers of history unfold. Some kurgans were reused over centuries, with new chambers added like pages in a book, each telling a different story of the people who ruled the steppes. What makes these mounds truly remarkable is how they've defied time. The permafrost of Siberia, for instance, preserved organic materials like wood, leather, and even food, offering us an unprecedented glimpse into nomadic life. Without these natural freezers, treasures like the Pazyryk Carpet or the Altai Princess's Tattoos might have crumbled to dust long ago. But kurgans aren't just about the past, they're keys to understanding how nomads shaped history. Their construction reveals social hierarchies, their contents trace trade routes, and their locations map forgotten empires. Even today, archaeologists uncover new secrets beneath these ancient heaps, rewriting chapters of human history with every discovery. And so, as we close our exploration of these astonishing relics, remember the kurgans stand as the ultimate testament to the nomads' ingenuity, their beliefs, and their unbreakable bond with the land they roamed. They remind us that while empires rise and fall, the stories buried beneath the earth will always find a way to speak to us. From the Golden Deer of Siberia to the towering kurgans we've just explored, these relics are more than just objects. They're windows into a world long gone, yet astonishingly alive through the stories they tell. Each artifact we've uncovered today reveals a piece of the nomadic puzzle, challenging what we thought we knew about history. The craftsmanship, the rituals, the sheer artistry, these weren't just wandering tribes. They were cultures with deep beliefs, vast connections, and a legacy that shaped civilizations from the steppes to the Silk Road. Think about the hands that carved the Scythian Comb, the weavers who created the Pazyryk Carpet, or the warriors who wore the Issyk Golden Armor. These weren't anonymous figures lost to time. They were people with dreams, fears, and triumphs, leaving behind clues that let us glimpse their world. And that's the magic of archaeology. It doesn't just study the past, it brings it to life. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which relic fascinated you the most? Was it the mysterious Taklamakan Mummies, the intricate animal-style artifacts, or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this journey through the treasures of the ancient nomads, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an adventure into history's greatest mysteries. Until next time, keep exploring and remember the past is always closer than you think.